All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. I pray everybody's doing well. This is a Mona, and we are here about to get into the sauce. For those who just joined us, welcome to the channel. I just got caught up on all the drama because I didn't have an opportunity to really see what was going on. I kind of went offline for a few days, and then I'm like, what is this? What, pray tell, is all of this hubbub about? And as usual, you're going to get a little bit of a different take over here because if we don't learn from it, then what is it all for, right? And so for those who may be new or not knowing what's going on in this particular space, Ray J goes on an epic, kind of like a Kanye rant, right? He goes on this epic rant and he starts revealing a whole lot of stuff. And people might be like, ooh, ah, ooh, 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 ah. But I'm like, wait a minute. There's something to be learned here. There is something to be learned here. And there's so many directions that can come from this. So it might be more than one video, but so as not to make it too long and too cumbersome, I'm going to go from the contractual vantage point of this conversation. So early, 20 or 17 years ago, something of that nature, he enters into a contract with who was then girlfriend, Kim Kardashian. So this is before riches, before fame, before establishing themselves. Let me make sure that my mic checks is good. He was the more notable one because he was on television. His sister was, or is Brandy. And so he was the one who was more notable. At that time, she had something to gain. Both of them had something to gain, but he was the one who was in the spotlight more. So to our understanding, she was working as a celebrity stylist and she was working for his sister. And the conversation is that they took some monies from, we're good. They took some monies from the sister and all of that. So that is the background of this conversation where he is looking for his own stardom, I guess, to establish himself. According to him in this rant, he wanted a car. Listen up now, right? So he wanted some type of material possession. And they came up with the idea. What sparked him essentially was Kardashian's mother saying that or lying that she was not part of brokering the deal for this blue movie. We're just going to call it a blue movie. That's what they call it in the Caribbean. Some slack tape, right? So all of this is not lost on it. Some people will like just skip over that part. But if we talk about soul ties and the way in which these things are formed, one would have to say that initially, a soul tie, because he's like, it's this many years later, why won't you leave me alone? Why are you still riffing off my name, right? And at first you might be inclined to feel sorry for him because we think sometimes when you do something wrong, a few years pass and then, but no, that's not how this works, because this is dealing with spiritual things, right? I want to back up a little bit before I get into the contract, just to note that sometimes when the people who are doing the thing knows better or proclaims to know better, it hits them harder, or it seemingly hits harder than others, right? So both of these parties here did something wrong. Okay, Kim Kardashian and Ray J and the mother, they did something questionable, let's say. But at this point, everybody profited to a certain degree monetarily. But beyond the money and the physical possessions, one person at a soul level is not pleased, and that person is Ray J. So I think that's important to note that once you get beyond the physical possessions and things of that nature, there's a deeper part of it that no amount of physical possessions, money, bribery, fame, no amount of any of those things or promises of any of those things can take that feeling away. And this is why he told the internet that he's doing what he's doing. He didn't want any money. He threw it to the blogs to have a field day with it. Do what you want. He took no KSF for this interaction because this is something that was eating him at a soul level. I want to note that because there are many people, even in today's space and time, after we see so many people fall off the cliff in the pursuit of happiness, get to this moment that, listen, once you get it, it's not what you think it is, right? So I say all of that to lead up to this soul tie conversation. So he and her, at a very young age, him and her, they entered into this soul tie by exchanging energies, even before the camera. Now, whomever, however, whenever, whose idea was it to now put this thing on video, and beyond that, leak it to the world, right? So you sold. This is because you reap what you sow. You sold, even if you got compensated for it. His contention is that we were all in on it. Stop trying to act like I'm the bad guy. But the reality is the act that everyone did, was complicit with, whose energetic karmic footprint is upon, is that you people engaged in a private act, made it public, and then profited off of it. So whatever comes with that, whatever is attached to that, you're going to reap bountifully, right? So this is kind of what we're seeing, and it doesn't matter how many years has passed. So let me go ahead and share this so that we can break down a little bit of how they contractually got bound. Even if you don't speak to the person in 17 years, the effects of the behavior is still there. So hold on one second. He's cursing quite a bit in this because he's clearly very upset. But we're going to try to look at how people get into, and we make these contracts unbeknownst to us. And so we make them with our words. In this particular case, they made it with intercourse. They made it with their words. They took compensation for it. So there was an agreement, there was an acceptance, and then they physically put their energy on a piece of paper and agreed to certain things. So let's take a look here. All right. It's a very long rant, but I'm up to the part where he's talking about, this is the first time he's pulling out the original contracts to show that they're lying on him. And so, there's sometimes people say there's no honor among thieves, because now you want somebody to be honest when everybody participated in being dishonest. So I guess his position is we were all dishonest. And why won't you be honest about your dishonesty? I don't know. But let's listen.
Keep doing this tonight. I feel free. Like, I don't know. I just feel like whatever go on the other side is going to go on the other side. But I know that no more. Like, y'all not about to do TV shows and front like that. Because I'm like, hold on.
Wait, so he says he feels free. So there was a weight on us. There's a weight on us when we do wrong. It's our conscience. It's something that rests upon us. There is a weight when we do not do the right thing. And again, no amount of liquor, smoking, drugs, eating, sex, thrill-seeking activities, no amount of those type of things is going to, it may numb it, it may distract you for a little while. But when you sit in the solitude of in a quiet place, this stuff revisited us. So let's continue.
I can go all night. Like, I can go, because the shit the shit I just showed them was like, all right, you go to sex tape contract. You want to see the sex tape contract? They're going to.
Okay, contract. What's a contract? A tie. What is, when you say somebody says they're contractually bound to something, you agree to something and you're tied with that person, right? Unless that contract is dissolved or it has met whatever. So he's wondering why is this keep coming back, and it's following throughout his career, because it was the seed. It was what you sowed in the beginning to catapult you and her into the space that you are. So you have an obligation to this beginning point. This is the foundation. And if you don't like what you're receiving, you got to go back to the beginning. And this is for all of us, right?
On a sex tape contract. There it is. There's the whole thing, right? That's my handwriting.
Okay, so when we put our John Hancock, they call it a John Hancock, when we put our energy, that's why they always want you to sign. What is that spiritually? What is that? They always want you to sign for it's a car, for it's a house, for it's they always want you to put your energy on something, right? To say that whatever the agreement is, this is what you are going to deliver. So he says, that's my handwriting. So he entered into this agreement with her and the people who are putting this illicit tape and leaking this tape. This is before the internet in the way it is now. So it was more DVDs and things of this nature. So he's agreeing that he's going to put this information out there in this way. But and there's another part where he says that he gave to his people. So part of the TikTok culture, part of the YouTube culture, part of the things that we're seeing now, he and her are, as well as the others, but we're talking about them right now, they have sown a lot of unsavory things into society, right? All of that stuff has to come back. So he often says that he's concerned and worried about his children, not realizing that, bruh, some of this stuff cannot be evaded because I don't think you really understood the gravity of what you were doing.
Right? This is the sex tape full contract. They done already
Full contract. Let me see if I could read any of this. Willie Ray Norwood Jr., his whole government, he put his whole address, right? Licensee and licensor shall sometimes be referred to as parties, and then it goes into the contract of what they're agreeing to. Intimate relations, okay, collectively celebrities, and it's a quote unquote, and they're giving the rights to certain audio video footage that shows celebrities, Willie Ray Norwood Jr., collectively celebrities, and so his contention is he didn't leak it, she was in agreement. But even beyond that, I don't think he's understanding that even beyond that, you sold yourself. Essentially, period. You sold yourself in a very vulnerable position, exposed essentially, and you thought it was a come up because we live in a time where people think that that's a come up. Nah, bruh, you gonna have to pay for that. Welcome to those who just joined us. Welcome to those who just joined us. So this is what he's doing now. So we may be inclined to feel sorry because somebody is reaping that which they have sown. But you put this out there, and the millions of people, the millions of children and adults that you have sown this seed into, this wicked imagery into, you're not going to just be able to escape it because you want it to stop. No, that's not how it works.
already breached the contract by talking about it. So let's talk about it.
So it's not that you wanted to do the right thing. It's not that you wanted to necessarily, you want both of you people were paid to be silent and took payola for doing this thing. So it wasn't about ethics, right? So now that we're making it about ethics and the children, you already helped pervert a whole generation. This was 20 years ago. You already helped sow seeds of debauchery and all of these people that are looking like and trying to be like these celebrities. You are the one who were at the beginning of it, who sowed this seed of division. So again, to only say that I only care about my children and how they see me, I think,
About it. Let's talk about it. There you go. Let's talk about it. Like, let's keep going. Keep going, because I'm telling you, go down to that. That's important right there. That's
It says, when all we're getting, get understanding. Hey, what's going on, Judah? Wisdom is principle, therefore get wisdom. With all you get understanding. In the beginning, I thought I remembered that, because we're all about the same age. This Brandy, this is the generation I grew up with. And if I can remember correctly, they initially are from the church, right? And they depart, like many acts and musicians, they leave the church and then they go into secular spaces, and like many musicians before them, and certain things seem to befall them when they go into that certain spaces, because the point is, you should know better, right? You should know better. And like I said earlier, oftentimes when we should know better and we proceed to do things anyway, it hit different. Like, how they be like, yo, that thing hit different. It hits different when you should know better and you continue to do the wrong.
important, because that's my signature. And that's Steve Hirsch's signature. And I love you, Steve. This ain't got nothing to do with you. This is about somebody fronting and lying. And I wish you can say something now when you saw her lying, but we'll do her later in court.
So he, again, lying, thou shalt not bear false witness is Torah. And what happens is we want to pick and choose which one we want to be a virtue signaler for, right? So in this particular case, is again, like I said, it's not the debauchery. Remember when Balak and Balaam, and it was like, how you get to curse these people? And he said, get them to sin. So it's not the debauchery. Because when he addresses that, he was like, I was wrong for, or whatever, right? So it's not the behavior that you exhibited that got you in this position. It's the fact that you want someone else to be honorable when the whole thing is dishonorable. And hopefully he's a very intelligent young man. Oh, well, middle-aged man at this point. And hopefully this is not lost on him, because this is a lesson that he needs to understand, that you bound your soul, not only on paper, but in word and deed with this woman, right?
You gotta talk. I hope she don't want to lie under oath. That's 4 years of, that's 4. But 25 to life for the side of these shit you tried to play me with. So these matter because this is the original contract. So with us initialing everything proves that each letter, each page is confirmed that it's going down. Without our signatures right there, our initials, then these pages won't, like, they'll be void, right?
Your signature and your initials. Signature and initials. So for those who just joined us, welcome. I'm going down just listening to what all of the hubbub. I try to listen through all the noise and see what we could pull out of there. And essentially, you entered into a soul contract. You bound yourself, sir, with this woman. So even though you have probably long ago spent the 400,000. Hold on for me 1 second, please. Yeah, my apologies for that. The young ones is over here cutting up, I say. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so yeah, let's continue. She threw me off. Let's continue.
Right now, look. This is just the first shit. Now, there's no way I could use Kim Kardashian's name in this contract if she wasn't a part of it. This is light, right? It shouldn't even say that. It should say like superstar something else to just keep it really vague so it's cool, right? But this is a full-on contract. I got 12.
So someone thought of this. Someone sat down at the table. Someone typed it up. Someone viewed and according to what he's saying, the mother viewed the videos and chose which one would help catapult her daughter into celebrities. So this is why one of the things is, where did you get that initial come up from? All of that, even though it may be covered over and glitched and glamoured over, it doesn't really leave us, right? Unless we resolve and deal with, that's our karmic footprint. And what we're experiencing right now is the karma of the choices that we make, even when we were ignorant. Some may argue, you was young, you didn't know, but it still has real life repercussions.
12.5%, Kim got 12.5%, right? Now she got the same.
Notice how his voice drops. Where is the body language guy? If you notice, when he's talking about things that he knows within himself, it convicts the soul, right? His voice kind of drops a little bit. So you realize that you did something that was debased. You put it out there. You got compensated for it. Both of you got compensated for it. So you that's a wrong in and of itself. You know that because you can hear it in his voice. But beyond that, she's accusing you to be solely the person who's responsible for besmirching her image, right? And that's what you want to clear up, not the fact that, you know what, I apologize. I put this out there and I can understand that the effects that it had on so many people, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he still got the lesson yet. I don't.
Exact contract I got. And when we go to court, guess what? They got to pull that up because we got to see that. Because moms was lying and we need to make sure that it's not right? Same contract we signed the same day. Go up some more. Go up some more. Now, I'm going to show you the Whopper. Here's my handwriting. That's my handwriting.
It's interesting. He wants to go to court for defamation. I'm not saying no, because now you're saying they're lying. And this is why the world's court system is kind of wild. You feel me? They about to go to court for defamation of character because they are saying that he's a creep when the whole thing is creepy.
So get out. Hey. Now, if y'all at home, this is what I want y'all to do. This is what I want y'all to do if y'all at home. I need everybody that really want to make sure that they see a Whopper on this, because this is like in forensic files where you know you was at the scene. So that's my handwriting. If y'all Google Kim Kardashian's handwriting, just Google her handwriting, because it doesn't change. She's consistent, right? So this is not the era. This is not the O.J. Simpson era. I think they're in the wrong era to be pulling fast ones, because the internet is faster. You know. Oh, now I got the hiccups. The internet is faster. So he's like real time. Y'all need to go Google and cross-reference, you know what I mean, some CSI type vibration, what I'm about to show you, which is, you know, like a lot of people are saying, well, they're not talking because, you know what I mean, they might have done backed themselves in a corner on this one. But like I said, the whole thing is like the thief arguing about who stole more. You know what I mean? So no. Keep it there. Let them pull up her handwriting first. This is my handwriting. My shit a little sloppier. You know what I'm saying? A little jalopier. Look at the E's, look at the O's, right? Kim Kardashian's handwriting. Now, in every contract, you gotta have deliverables that you sign. So meaning the final page is exactly what you selling to somebody. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm selling a music CD, it'll say deliverables, and at the three things or whatever. Again, for those who just joined us, welcome. A contract, a soul tie, is something that we usually contract either verbally, through emotions, through again words, on paper. You know, this is why a lot of musicians, artists, people of that nature, they're sworn to secrecy. They end up into blood contracts, you know, and this is something that bounds somebody's soul. So what he's experiencing is overload, right? Where he feels as though his soul has been bound. And he said, well, since we're not supposed to be talking and you're talking and you breach the contract, then now it gives him the right to talk, right? And so it's not that a lot of these people don't know that they've done wrong or wrong has been done onto them, but they fear what is to happen if they speak the truth, which is wickedness, you know what I mean? Because you can't speak the truth. And so you misrepresent and you lead millions of people astray based on a lie, you know, but that's the world we're living in. So let's continue. Whatever you delivering to say, album number 1, Ray J something, album number 2, this Taurus, this Fires, whatever it's called. So in this one, we have to sell sex tapes. So you see the way he said it? Again, listen to the inflection. He's giving you the lowdown on contracts, right? And again, this is telling us, be careful what we sign, be careful what we agree to. Secondly, he has to, when he's exposing her, he has to expose himself, right? And so the way he says is like, oh, let's skip this part. You know what I mean? We have to sell. It's not like you say, you know, we have to sell oxygen water. You know, he didn't say it with pride. He realized like, yo, the whole thing is foul. The whole thing is foul. We're selling sex tapes to our people. Pause. Oh, let me pull that one back again. What is he doing? No. Keep it there. Yeah, keep it there. Let him pull up her handwriting first. This is my handwriting. My shit a little sloppier. You know what I'm saying? A little jalopier. Look at the E's, look at the O's, right? Kim Kardashian's handwriting. Now, in every contract, you gotta have deliverables that you sign. So meaning the final page is exactly what you selling to somebody. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm selling a music CD, it'll say deliverables, and at the three things or whatever you delivering, it'll say album number 1, Ray J something, album number 2, this Taurus, this Fires, whatever it's called. So in this one, we have to sell sex tapes. So we're selling sex tapes to our people.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So the nature of it, I think, also contributed to why and how the cloudiness around it, and why he didn't really probably necessarily feel so compelled. Because again, you have to implicate yourself. What were you selling? What is the product? What are you trafficking? What are you portraying? You know what I mean? And the way he had to say what you're selling to who? Who are you selling this to? So a lot of what we're seeing, I think I said it in somebody else's channel. I was on somebody's show. I called in. What's his name? The Poor Man's Podcast. Okay. And this is how I knew that people were disingenuous. And he spun it, and I was just like, I'm done. Because when you say something like the melanated men in the 90s, late 80s and the 90s, the rappers, they were selling sex. That's what they were selling to the people. This is exactly what they were doing. So when you say Sir Mix-a-Lot and Baby Got Back and all of this debauchery, and you say, why did the music devolve? Why did it become so lowly? Why did the vibration of the people and you say the men? You're saying the men are responsible. They were the mouthpieces. To have a female MC at that time was rare, but the mouthpieces, those who were in the forefront, those who the people were listening to, mostly were men. And the information and the imagery that they were representing, they were selling sex. So the women went from feeling the need to come in the classy way. When they were selling classiness, then the women appeared classy. When they came out of Motown, they came out polished. They came out like Diana Ross, and they came out like Tammy Terrell. But when it began to devolve, then they started taking off clothes, and it not becoming about talent and becoming about sex. Now, it didn't just start now, because we could look at Josephine Baker in that time, and then we can still see that there was a level of selling the female body. But for him to have to admit that this is what you were doing, you weren't even selling it in dance. You were physically selling it and selling your rights to it, and received 12.5 as a man, putting your imprint on that and your fingerprint on that. It's going to come back to you. And that's what it's doing. And that's what we're experiencing right now. But it's interesting that he's looking to hold them accountable for telling the truth. And the reality is, the truth is, he needs to sit with this a little bit, even though you don't share it, but sit with it so that you can understand how and why you got in this position in the first place as a man.
Right? So here's what happens. Kim is rushing me. Her mom's rushing me. Let's get this shit done. Come on, let's get it signed. Kim's with me while I'm signing my contract. She's like, hurry up, babe. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and help you. I'm going to sign your deliverables for you so you can just rush it.
So they were clearly thirsty. Again, they were in circles, but I guess they wanted it. You got the juice now. You know what I mean? They wanted the juice. Tupac and Omar Epps, they wanted the juice. And so they were, according to his narrative, excited about this. And her mother was right along with them. But again, if he's trying to show how willing of a participant Kim Kardashian was, but in reality, you also were a willing participant because you benefited as well.
This was from God, just blessing you to have it the heart. So Kim signs the deliverables, exactly what we about to sell to Vivid. It's her signature. I mean, it's her handwriting, giving Steve the fucking, giving him the right to sell it. Like, this is my contract, though. So when we go to court, they gotta pull up a contract too, and it'll say the same thing on hers. But this is on mine. She fucked up and got mine out the way too, right?
So again, these little things, basically what he's showing is the willingness. And sometimes women will be like, oh, just let me help you, right? You're going too slow. You act like you don't know what you're doing. Move out the way. Her willingness to sell herself as well. So basically, he's trying to clear his name from being the sleazy guy who leaked it. But like I said, it goes beyond that. I think they need some spiritual guidance. It goes beyond that. You bound yourself in the same way that Kanye did, in the same way that other people have done with this family. And they look like they used the energy or male energy that comes around them, and they used it and then they use it to get themselves to another level. You see that in each one of their interactions, right?
I mean, here's the deliverables, and this is the original copy. All right, this is the original copy of my contract. And look who signed my deliverables and was in the room. Hold on, there's our signature right there, because that's it. If they try to void this contract, anybody that I did the deal with, that means that the whole deal we did is void. Because
now, for those who have just joined us, this is all over the internet. I'll put the link so that you can see if you really care what he's talking about. But for this purpose of this conversation, I'm just trying to get to how soul ties are formed, watching how somebody's recounting that they actually formed a soul tie, but not realizing that they actually did. And what I found interesting is that he cross-referenced this contract, and he doesn't mean signature, he means her handwriting. Like, she filled in what they were delivering, and it's written in her handwriting, meaning that she was there and she was knowledgeable. But at the same time, I just forgot what I was going to say. It'll come back. Let me just press play.
this is what we sold him. Look who was in the room with me. Look who wrote.
Is this not prostitution? Is this let me look up the definition of prostitution, because he's saying they sold sex, right? Wait a minute. The practice is engaging in sex acts in exchange for money. So they did it, they recorded it, and then they sold it. Let's continue.
Exactly what we sold. Tape number 1, Cabo intro. Tape number 2, Cabo sex. Tape number 3, here's the one that they said I had. Santa Barbara sex.
So they sold sex, and for those who just joined us, this stuff came back up again with the whole Kanye going to get the laptop. And again, I think, for people who know, which he would have known the right from wrong. You grew up in the church. You would have known right from wrong. You was around a Bible or two, possibly, if you were paying attention. But the allure of money, right, sucks people in. They say, how do you get them to sin? You can't forget. A lot of people are like, I don't want to talk about it. And then we want to talk about this and not get the lesson from the story. In the conversation of Balak and Balaam, the question was, how do you get them to sin? And they got the people to sin by sending these foreign women in there by which they would sin. So a foreign woman came in, he recorded it, they sold it. So they engaged in prostitution and selling themselves. They recouped 12.5%, $400,000 each. Yeah. And they have bound themselves to this very day. That's what I wanted to say. When he cross-referenced the handwriting on one of the letters, when you're younger and you're wondering, we young and we don't know the implication of what we're saying. On one of the letters, she wrote, "Forever yours, Kimmy." That's what she wrote on the letter, right? Does that stuff just go away because you're no longer engaged with the person? Let's continue.
Ray J, that's my signature. This isn't a copy of it. This is the original. So what did I do? So I just pull up the handwritings of other people. I even went further because she wrote me a letter. So doing my forensic shit, I had her take the fingerprints off the letter she wrote me, right?
That's the same letter. Your baby forever, Kimmy. That's what she wrote in the letter. Okay? Among other things. But again, the things that we say and we forget, the things that you promise and you move on. If we're looking at the way the universe works and the way word works and the way sound works and how long it takes certain things to come back, somebody may be like, that was 20 years ago, but that sound went out, right? And now it's on its way back. It's on its way to manifestation. And we're like, oh my goodness, where did this come from? Why is this happening to me?
The fingerprints of the letter she wrote me a long time ago.
Let me see what she wrote here. Please, baby, try to understand something. The love is there, so I know future will turn out just right. I is running off the page. Blank you, I guess, need you in my life and just want to blank things right. You are rushing me to finish packing. I love you and we'll, I guess, talk more later. Because this was before texting to a certain degree, right? So before texting, we wasn't, we had to write letters, you know what I mean?
Exactly to the ones on my contract. Whoa! Could it be? Could it be? Could it be forever yours? Same I, same E, same everything. Same everything. Wait a minute, listen, here's what's funny though. Y'all could just Google Kim's handwriting and it pops up. It's like the exact same. All you gotta do is just Google Kim's handwriting. It's easy. They gonna say, oh no, we have an expert saying that this is not Kim's, it was forged, right? So if it's forged, then that means the whole contract is void, right? And that means that we all sue everybody. Santa Barbara 6, Kimmy, this is her on mine. Now, the judge is what all I want the judge to
again, he says this is about his name. I think it's more than about your name, because if indeed you have bound your soul through these contractual agreements and your actions, in order for you to not only win, quote unquote, in court, but to begin to undo the things that you have done, you have to go through a series of confessions, my friend. You know what I mean? Because you sent out this stuff into the world. Like you said, you were selling this to your people. This is what you sold to the people for money. So how do you undo such a thing? And is she the reward for your actions? Like, you know what I mean? Let's continue.
To do is ask to see a copy of her contract, because her contract's going to state the same, because we signed the same thing and we got the same amount of money. The $5 million you'll never be able to find, because that's a lie. They never got paid none of that. So whatever happens, I'm just tired of being the one. Like, I'm not a bad guy. I respect every woman out there in their privacy. Like, to make me that nigga, I'm not that nigga.
Okay, this is
the
the contradiction, because right now he's experiencing people looking at him sideways. You say you respect every woman, but that wasn't respectful. This is why I'm saying this contradictory thought process is not going to free your energy from what you have done. You know what I mean? You can't respect somebody and then agree to put them out there for any amount of money, right? So you have to be honest to say, you know what? No, I did not respect myself, and I did not. It says when you confess your sins and those of your forefathers, right? So you have to confess. It's good for the soul. You have to be honest that, or even come to the realization that, this was wrong. This was wrong. But I don't think he's there yet. Hopefully he will get there.
All my kids get 6 and 7. That shit should be solidified in everybody's brain out the plate. Look at the morals though.
See, he's misunderstood. He's doing this for his children. It's like some of these artists sell stuff to their other people's children that they wouldn't sell to their own. They wouldn't want sold to their own. But it's doing to others as you have others doing to you, right? So you can't sell someone else poison and hope you don't catch it. It don't work like that. Spiritual laws do not work like that. But let's continue.
All y'all gotta do is go to your phone and see these things, because I'm sure you can see it online, because I did. This is my deliverables. If you know about contracts, my addendum is everything. She signed it right in the bed while I was signing the other stuff, just trying to hurry up and get me out the way.
Ray, there's one more thing we gotta do though.
Now look, I got more.
Okay, let me know your thoughts. I'm gonna continue to play a little more, but that's what I wanted to talk about. That they are still bound, as we can see, because she still has a real-time effect. And according to him, they didn't talk for years, but it still eats at him. It's still very present with him. It's present with her, but some people's conscience is more seared than others. You know what I mean? Some people, they have totally disconnected themselves from the creator. They don't feel anything. You know what I mean? Even though it's there, they cover it over so much that it's not really having any real time effect.
This is everything that, like, all I need to do is, like, the judge, all he needs to do is just ask for them to print up the contracts.
Show me some real thing and not Photoshop.
Oh, no. It's cool. Like, it's not Photoshop. It's cool. Yeah, I got the video. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's show the video. Right? We selling the tape. We actually selling it on her name. The mic is already on it, so you know it's already approved. And it's too cool. I wish I told myself I'm blinded to the truth, right? And like I'm just telling my truth. Like I'm just telling my truth. It's every contract. This is the one. That's at my house. It's been in my safe. Chilling. Like waiting for
You blinded to the truth. Yes, indeed, brother. You are blinded to the truth. And all the people, sometimes I don't understand, all the people you people have around you, is there no one around you that could be like, bro, I gotta keep it a buck with you. Right? I hear you, but you know that person that has to be like, yo, I hear you, but yeah, no. You know what I mean? There are other things that you are still guilty of, which is what's making it which is what makes you keep coming up in their conversations, right? Their very existence in this space, or hers, is tied to you, right? So you are the person who's the opposite person in this conversation. So in order for them to look good, then they have to demonize you because that was the entry point into this world. You were, you know what I mean?
For God to tell me when they're gonna do what it's gonna do. Did I know it was gonna be tonight? No. Am I gonna stop after tonight? No, hell no. I'm gonna annoy niggas with it. I'm gonna annoy niggas with it because everybody out there should demand for them to respond and demand like with all the shit they've been doing to niggas need to like demand some kind of like explanation and like demand them to admit that they've been fucking me over, and they should immediately bow down to the facts, like, and just go ahead and apologize. Like,
oftentimes when we are projecting outward and we only see that person did me wrong, we can't see ourselves, and then we're still vulnerable for it to happen again. So for him to say more than one person has engaged with them, more than one melanated male has engaged with them and has come out with the short end of the stick, why do you keep engaging with them? That's question number one. It usually comes from a desire, right? Which has some more to do with you as the person than it has to do with them. You understand? So for the fact that he wants them to stop doing him wrong, and that he's not really coming to the understanding that you engaged in it. You agreed to it. You're showing us your contract. Even if she wrote the deliverables, you willingly entered the room. Why were you there? You know what I mean? And this is what I think a lot of people who come on to YouTube and a lot of, what people will classify as talking down on the melanated male, one of the reasons you see it is because the lack of accountability. When you skip over the part that you are responsible for only to hold the woman, you're the man. So if you're the man and you're the lead, how did you allow a woman and her mother to convince you then to put yourself in such a compromising situation? If you say that they should be thinking about your family, or who's thinking about your family at that particular time, you wasn't thinking about your family either. If we're going to be 100% honest, you weren't thinking of, you didn't say, oh yeah, they drugged you, they roofied you, and they forced you to sign this contract and to get on video. You were willing to do it because there was something on the other side of it for you. And when it's not working out now and you're getting the short end of the stick, you want them to be accountable. Not saying that they should, but is there really honor among thieves? Right? For him to really come full circle is to acknowledge that, listen, I violated and I put things out into the world that I should not have. And you take full responsibility for that and everything that comes with it. You know what I mean? And then you begin to look for this justice that you speak of. But let's continue. That's just my thought.
That'll make me feel better than anything in the world.
It sounded like I didn't stop it at that place on purpose, but he after I said what I said, he said that would make me feel better than anything in the world. I'm telling you, if you confess, sir, just be honest and lay it all out on the table.
For them to play with me, like this, these is undeniable things. Like why your handwriting get on my contract and then got like you wrote the words that was like the words.
But did you object though? Look, when I'm not caping for none of these people, but did you object? Both of you were willing participants. When she wrote it in, did you say, nah, B, what you doing? Don't be writing on my contract. Or did you object, or did you allow her to do so? Clearly, if you have the contract some 17 years later and you're using it as Exhibit A, you were not in opposition to her writing it in, right? So both of you agreed to this thing, but in your estimation, you're the only one that's getting, even though she exploited. That also shows the kind of world we live in, right? You get into the industry by doing some wildness, and the other person is getting the bad end of the stick. No, but that's neither here nor there. Both of you were there and were present and engaged, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Oh, sex tapes, and like you wrote those, but you was never around. Think about all the time she was crying and like preying on other people's like realities of what really happened to them. But then for her, she just lying and preying on people's like emotions to feel sorry for her. Like it's the contract. They already breached contract.
So they signed it on January. When did you sign this soul contract? Because this conversation is Kim and Ray J's soul contract, right? January the 30th, 2007. Well, let me see. What day was that? Y'all know I like these little interesting things. What day was January? The day you signed the deal with Beelzebub. Hold on. January the 30th. I was in New York. January 30th, 2007. Yeah, I was in NY. You were, let's see here. That was a Tuesday. 15 years, 7 months, and 10 days ago. January 30th, 2007 was 15 years, 7 months, and 10 days ago. That's when you engage and you bound yourself contractually with them, right? If before you did it energetically and on a soul level because you actually did the act before this point, but when you receive monetary compensation, it was 15 years ago. And here we are. That's why I said time, you know, in spirituality to a certain degree, it's a different type of construct. Time is this three-dimensional construct. If it took 15 years, 7 months, and Ragil 10 days for you to feel the pain, here it is. You know what I mean? You lived it up, you know, for how many years, and then now here you are paying the piper. You're gonna have to pay the piper. It is what it is.
It don't even matter at this point.
What you mean it don't matter, Ray J? Stop just coming in. I say you gotta pay the piper. He gonna talk about it don't even really matter at this point.
Like, I don't know if y'all going to jail, but y'all definitely gotta do what's right. That's it. That's the.
How you gonna tell him to do what's right, brother? What's right?
Last page. Like, that's it. That's the one we signed. And then after we sign that, me and Steve, the next one, boom, this the one behind it. Just click it on the Like, you know what I'm saying? And what's dope is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, her letter that she wrote, that shit matched the same shit on the other song. This shit about to be a real forensic file story. Like, I'm not letting up. I got something real crazy, like.
Okay, we're going to go into the part that really struck me when I was listening to it is how beyond the money and the material possession, it affects him on a soul level. This is why I talk so much about what I talk about, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done and when the curtains are closed, that's all we got left. It said the body goes back to the earth and the spirit, the breath goes back to the creator. All you have left is the soul. And there's a lot of people who mystify it and demystify it and got people going to hell and heaven and everywhere in between. But our soul is the immaterial part of us, the part that has our memories, right? The part that feels. And so at the end of the day, when we do things that we sin, we really sin against our own souls. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the dangerous part, because we think we're doing it to someone else. In the same way she thinks she's doing it to him, she's really doing it to herself. You understand? In the same, so we do it, we sin against our own selves. And by doing so, we have to carry that sin. And some people will be like, Amanda, that sounds religious. Okay, let's continue to hear if Ray J is rejoicing in his choices.
Like real crazy. I'm in the Dominican Republic, and I'm trying to figure out like when is my heart gonna feel pure, like to be able to just like let go of all this negativity. Like,
do you hear that? So he's going to different locations at this point. He's in the Dominican Republic, and he's trying to figure out when his heart is going to feel pure. Where's your heart? Where do you feel that? Right? And to let go of all this negativity that weighs you down, right? So you have all the money, you have all the status, you have all the recognition, but inside, there's something wrong. Let's continue to listen.
Trying to move forward, and then like somebody sent me the Chris Jenner shit.
But you can't move forward because somebody lied to you. When we do things, we have to make it right. We have to make it right, or else it's just going to loop. It's going to go around, come back, and hit you on the next rotation. You understand what I'm saying? So he was triggered by the Kris Jenner lie detector, and so this is why he finally decided to let it all out.
He was lying with the lie detector. Like, damn. And I thought, like, I think I just go to just get the lawyers, right? I just get the lawyers and just go ahead and do it and just get them in, right? Something just told me, man, how much longer you just like, be quiet? Like, how much longer can they do what they do without an issue? Just saying what you're saying and saying your piece.
Oh, by the way, so basically, often people say, therapy doesn't work. Therapy does help. To him right now, this would be the equivalent to talk therapy, because the actions and our thoughts, they carry weight, right? And words have weight. This is why you have to measure your words and speak responsibly. And so when you hold on to these things and you don't voice them and give them passage to move through, then they inhabit the body, right? And so this is where you see a lot of people feeling weighed down from the things that they know or the things that have happened and the things they haven't said. And then it causes them to self-medicate and self-harm and do a whole lot of other things, because this energy wants to keep moving, but you're kind of like locking it up, right? And so basically you're harming yourself.
I just want y'all to admit it. Like we got like, if y'all respond to this, meaning like, if y'all don't say something like that makes even a little bit of sense,
Shit's still going crazy.
y'all can't make no sense of this.
I mean, there's no honor among thieves, essentially. Like I said, that what you guys were doing was not upright, right? So now that you guys are in the pot, the thieves are moving like thieves would move. And he's like, wait a minute, where's the honor? And they're like, there's no honor among thieves. What is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. I think it's like, hey, we agreed to this. We know it ain't right, but how you going to break rank and, leave me holding the bag?
Like y'all need to bow out now, because the more I go, just the more bad it's gonna be. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Did he just say more bad? I know you're not feeling well right now, Ray J, but more bad is the worst it's gonna be, not more bad.
Are so there. Like y'all ain't never ever responded to this like you responded to anybody else. That's why I want to talk. Like, you know what? Because I've been trying to find the right lawyers to like work with me on this. Nobody believe me. They want me to they so like scared of the other thing. I'm like, let me represent myself then, dog, because I'm not afraid of them and I'm not afraid of the truth. So
what other thing are the lawyers afraid of? Do you notice how he kind of rambled past that part? He tried to get lawyers, but they afraid of the other thing. So even in his speaking, he not speaking. What's the other thing? What's the other thing?
I feel like God is like putting everything in perspective. God is the reason why she went on this.
See, I love the way they just sprinkle the creator in there. So this is where the Christian church sometimes have fallen short, because like the stuff don't work like this. So now God is the reason that Kris Jenner went and lied on the lie detector test, but we are talking about something that is against the creator in the way in which you people did that which you were doing. But now he's about to go on the soapbox real quick.
Yeah, I detect that test because it gave me one more year statute of limitation to like sue for all of the bad shit they did to me, and now I can sue it for exactly like what you doing, lying. Let's get to the facts of what happened. Let's get to the facts of the timeline of when it happened. So all that crying that you did was all fake. All the stuff you said, all the people you lied to all around the world, all the important people that gave you deals, like that you cried in their bathroom and shit, like that shit was, you sent them niggas on a ride, yo. Like that ain't fair, yo. Like, and then you try to like come back, and while I'm just doing my thing, dog, like y'all made billions. Like Raycon, we had 3 million earbuds sold. That's like 300 million for the company as a whole and growing slowly. Let me live. Like, I don't even try to go that route with numbers and money and shit. Like, that's not what I do. I'm just doing my shit.
So what is this really about? What is this really about? Again, you throw God in there to make it feel like, oh, no, sir. No, sir. No, sir. What are the long-reaching implications of the thing that you people put out into the world? Right? And then you go back to talking about money and people. It was for money, for the love of money. It was for the love of money. And to get it in the way in which you got, you were already in, you could have worked your way and did what you needed to do, but you wanted to come up, and you came up and you got burnt.
And you know the truth. Here you come again, because I gotta get another rating. So Hulu is like, I gotta talk about the sex tape. I gotta figure out what we're gonna do, Roblox and all shit, access. We can use that. You know what I'm saying? That's perfect for us. And y'all run it, and you get the shit back from Congress.
Agreed, True Diamond. What's going on? Dudes support this type of behavior for females, and now you want to complain. Correct. This is why I'm saying this is not being holy. Everybody's like, oh yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, pause. It really depends on what your objective is, right? You help females. She says they help these females elevate, but they themselves are left behind. I think he's kind of salty. Yeah, they stepped on you. They jumped out, even though you're still doing your thing. They exceeded because they just jumped to the next dude and the next dude, right? And you didn't fully get the benefit of the action. She did. You understand? So basically you were used to a certain degree, and you got the short end of the stick. So this is not true repentance. This is wanting honor among thieves. This is not, and the people are just being used as, the public to hear the story and hear me out. You know what I mean? That's what the people are being used as. It's not necessarily what we think it is. There's some other things going on, but hey, if I put it out like this and I just unload on the people and my truth is being told, not like these are the same people that you use, because who was the tape being sold to? He told us earlier, his people. So you were willing to, it's the same thing. Like you were willing to sell crack to your people so you could come up. You were willing to sell drugs. You were willing to, debase them so that you could come up. And because you didn't come up fully and you kind of got a bad name for it, now, I want it to stop because I don't want my children to see this. It doesn't work like that. It absolutely doesn't work like that. And too many people think it does.
I told him, don't tell nobody. Give it to you. Go to the back. You look at it, and then you come out and you say, ain't nothing on there. What the fuck? What is that? Don't even make no fucking sense. Then what? You should be concerned. Then if you come out celebrating, oh yes, nothing's on it. Somebody was doing that, and I was looking for somebody like, so ain't nothing on it, nigga. That's a problem. You get what I'm saying? But it's all just bullshit. Here's the bottom line to the shit with me just keeping it real. If this was real, why you didn't sue me?
Straight up. They ain't respond to the DMs.
Why didn't you sue me? Why didn't I get, that's criminal. Like, that's criminal, though. To exploit somebody to that level is way the fuck out, right? Why you didn't sue me? That's the question, Your Honor.
Who's Your Honor? Where do you think he at in court?
They never even mentioned Steve. It's all about me, huh?
You were used, my dear.
It's all about me, and it's all about you up top.
Now, if you were never there, this wouldn't even be a conversation. And again, a lot of people are on the internet now, and the men are not realizing if you weren't there, your name couldn't have been called. You know what I mean? If you weren't there, your name couldn't have been called. Now, I wasn't even paying attention during the time of all of this stuff because, but I want to see a little bit about what people were saying at that time. She had a really tough life. It's really hard to be famous for having sex on camera, but she managed to rise above it all. Really, lady? So she tried to clean up her image. And before her tape was released, let me see here. Right, she used to be with Paris Hilton, and then she was a celebrity style closet wardrobe shopper person. Let me see here. Computer gone. She said it was a negative way. So I felt like it was really hard to work 10 times harder to get people to see the real me. Really, lady? So I guess according to what he's saying, she milked it. And when they needed ratings for this last show, she milked it some more. And well, you were the Azazel, my friend. You signed up to be the scapegoat. Let's finish this out.
And then wherever y'all want to put us, right? Wherever y'all want to run through. I can't run through me, dog. Like I'm coming for what is old. The facts will remain. I got more to show. I got a lot more to show. But I'm gonna leave it at that for a minute. And then it's like we about to you know what I'm saying? We in the DR. So I'm not gonna let it stress me too much. I'm about to have some fun. But what y'all won't do is lie about me no more, Chris. I've never said nothing crazy and disrespectful in that manner to you or to Kim in this situation, even tonight. My verbiage has been very respectful as far as humans, but you guys have fucked me in a way, but y'all just keep doing it, and it hurts, and it hurts, like to the point where like niggas.
But listen to the language, listen to the verbiage on the healing journey, and just retracing his steps. Listen to the verbiage that he chose to use. Remember, this whole situation is centered around you doing this act to someone and recording it, right? Then I'm gonna rewind a little bit. Now listen to 15 years, 7 months and 10 days later. Listen to how he's describing how he feels. So it's just weights and balances. This is the image you put out in the world, and people watched it over and over and over and over and over again. And now listen to how you are being felt energetically. Let me pull back a little bit.
What y'all won't do is lie about me no more, Chris. I've never said nothing crazy and disrespectful in that manner to you or to Kim in this situation, even tonight. My verbiage has been very.
But if he allowed them initially to lie, why are you mad now? He says they won't lie about him anymore. But initially, when this thing comes out and they say it's leaked and you did it, did you correct them, or did you allow the people to lie for 15 years, 7 months, and 10 days? Right. So it's all just weights and measures. It's all just weights and measures. So now basically he's getting what he has sown. So you allowed the people to lie by omission, not telling the truth and not correcting the record, and they continued with the lie. Really, they're just continuing with the lie that you were on board with in the beginning.
Like, very respectful as far as humans, but you guys have fucked me in a way where y'all just keep doing it, and it hurts, dog. And it hurts like to the point where like niggas is like, I'm real like upset emotionally.
So physically, he described it as physically they violated him over and over, and it hurts. Okay, well, This is what you signed up for. This is what you signed up for, man.
It's just taking a toll, and it gotta stop, dog. Like I'm not even like I'm single now, so I can't. I don't want that on. I don't want that on me. Like I don't even know who really believed me or what when I was with what or what happened, but I just know knowing the nigga is like making a nigga something he not, and trying to overcome that and leave that shit alone. I remember when the company was like, man, we almost.
A good name is more worth more than riches, right? So that's the part we up to. A good name. So he wants his name. He wants a good name. He wants the stain that he voluntarily put on his name to be removed. He wants them to stop lying, because now that that part of his life is over and he's past that, it's not a good look for him. But the reality is he has to come fully and wholly clean and speak to how you have contributed to, you know what I'm saying, the downfall of a whole generation. And some people would be like, Amuna, that's a bit much. Okay, how far did if y'all gonna hold, they're gonna be like, they were consenting. I'm talking about the results of what you've done. Now I forgot what I was about to go look for. I forgot what I was about to go look for. True Diamond says these men, including him, worshipped her and didn't think she couldn't do no wrong. He wanted her to win, but once again, she leveled up and used whomever to reach the top. She accomplished her goal, and he didn't. Oops. Yeah. So wow. So hopefully, thank you for that. I put a link in the box, but I'm gonna wrap up. Hopefully I was able to illustrate my thoughts on why and how they formed this soul tie and why he's actually experiencing what he's experiencing, and beyond the emotional toil that it has taken on his life, he signed up for this. So what did we learn from this? Be careful who we get into contractual agreements with. Be careful who we bind our soul with. Be careful what we take compensation for, because it may not be today and it may not be tomorrow. But after the thrill is gone, you know what I mean? After it's not exciting no more, and we have to live and sit with the choices that we make, we have to ask ourselves, can we live with it? Will it be worth it? You know what I mean? Because even if you go to Disney World and that's excited at first, you ain't gonna want to live there. After a while, you know, this is what it is to be like, people get their riches and famous, and to him, after a while, you know, it's like living at the casino, overstimulation. You're going to want some peace. You're going to want some relationships. You're going to want people who you can trust. You're going to want some type of healthy family in exchange. And if the things that you did to get to where you are right now are questionable, you're not necessarily going to have that. And that's what he's experiencing right now. And I hope he takes a moment to go beyond, you know, oh, I'm going to show them and they should do me right, to realize that, you know what, you signed up for. This is what you signed up for. Let me know if you agree, disagree in the comment section below. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Continue to like, subscribe, and share if you like the Amuna Solonomics breakdown version of what's going on in the world. You feel me? Because if we're not learning, what we doing? Anywho, everybody, thanks for tuning in. You have a blessed day. We'll talk again soon.